Welcome back for another deep dive. Today, we're going to be looking at Mary Farrell and her work on the JFK assassination.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and her pursuit of open access to information surrounding that.
Okay.
We're going to be looking at an issue of Kennedy Assassination Chronicles, which is a publication entirely dedicated to this event.
Right.
And this magazine is packed with all sorts of stuff. Articles, news items, book recommendations,
Interesting.
letters from researchers and witnesses even. It's really a treasure trove for anyone who wants to learn more about this topic.
You know, it's amazing to think that Mary Farrell began amassing her collection of JFK assassination materials on the very day of the assassination back in 1963.
Wow.
I mean, think about it. Long before databases and the internet,
Right.
she was meticulously organizing information on index cards.
Wow.
Just driven by this commitment to making it all accessible.
Right.
And that dedication ultimately led to the creation of the JFK Alliance for Open Archives, or JFK AOA.
That's right. It's really hard to overstate her dedication. To start a project of that magnitude on such a significant day really speaks volumes about her passion, I think.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit more about this JFK AOA. What's their mission, and how does it relate to Mary Farrell's work?
Well, the JFK AOA carries the torch of Mary Farrell's vision. They're all about transparency, ensuring that everyone from seasoned researchers to curious newcomers can access this wealth of material related to the JFK assassination. It's like democratizing history,
Right.
empowering individuals to form their own conclusions based on primary sources.
Right.
This is especially crucial with a topic as controversial as the JFK assassination. Misinformation and speculation run rampant.
I see what you mean. Having a centralized, reliable source of information is essential for cutting through all that noise and trying to get to the truth.
Yeah.
So let's jump into this issue of Kennedy Assassination Chronicles. What are some of the articles that stand out to you?
Well, one that really caught my eye was Harvey and Lee in North Dakota. It delves into the two Oswald theory.
Two Oswald theory.
Yeah. Which proposes that two men named Lee Harvey Oswald existed,
Wow.
leading parallel lives. Researcher John Armstrong suggests that one Oswald was framed for the assassination while the other simply vanished.
Two Oswalds.
Yeah.
That's a pretty wild idea. Does the article offer any evidence to support this theory?
Well, it examines a claim that someone met Oswald in Stanley, North Dakota back in 1953. But here's where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
The article also highlights how a simple typing error in a news report snowballed into becoming part of this theory. The report mistakenly placed Oswald in North Dakota when he was actually in New Orleans.
Really?
Yeah, it just goes to show how even a tiny detail can have this massive ripple effect on historical narratives.
Wow, a single typo shaping history.
Yeah.
That's incredible. It really makes you question how much we can trust seemingly established facts.
Absolutely. It underscores the importance of scrutinizing sources,
Yep.
especially when dealing with such a high-profile and controversial event. The article goes on to analyze a claim by William Timmer, who says he actually met Oswald in Stanley, North Dakota.
Ah, so an eyewitness account. But how reliable are those, especially years after the fact?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
The article delves into the complexities of eyewitness testimony, highlighting how memory can be distorted over time and even influenced by information we encounter after the event. It encourages us to consider the potential for bias and the absolute necessity for corroboration when evaluating such claims. It's a cautionary tale for anyone interested in historical research, reminding us to approach evidence with a critical eye.
You're right. That's a valuable lesson for all of us, not just JFK assassination buffs.
Exactly.
But let's move on to another article in this issue. What else caught your attention?
Well, there's a fascinating article that tackles the single bullet theory, a key element of the Warren Commission's conclusion. The article, titled Governor Connolly's Wrist Wound and CE 399, challenges the idea that a single bullet caused all of Governor Connolly's wounds and one of President Kennedy's wounds.
Okay, for those of us who need a refresher, could you explain the single bullet theory in a bit more detail?
Sure. The Warren Commission, which investigated the assassination, concluded that one bullet fired by Oswald passed through President Kennedy's neck and then inflicted all of Governor Connolly's wounds. This was a critical piece of their conclusion that Oswald acted alone.
Okay, and this article challenges that conclusion. How so?
Well, they focus on CE 399, the so-called pristine bullet found on Connolly's stretcher.
Okay.
The Warren Commission claimed this bullet caused all those wounds. However, the article compares photographs of CE 399 with X-rays of Connolly's wrist,
Wow.
and even expert witness testimony from the Warren Commission itself.
And what do they find?
Inconsistencies. The article points out that CE 399 doesn't appear to have enough damage to account for all the bullet fragments found in Connolly's wrist. They even quote expert witnesses who even at the time expressed doubts about the single bullet theory during the Warren Commission's own investigation.
So this article isn't offering a definitive answer, but it's raising some serious questions about a cornerstone of the official narrative.
Exactly. It's a perfect example of how important it is to continuously re-examine the evidence.
Right.
Challenge assumptions and consider alternative possibilities, especially with a case as complex and controversial as this one.
It seems like this issue of Kennedy Assassination Chronicles really embodies that spirit of open inquiry that Mary Farrell championed.
Absolutely. By making these documents and analyses accessible, it encourages readers to grapple with the evidence themselves, think critically, and perhaps even draw their own conclusions.
Speaking of grappling with the evidence, one thing that struck me about this magazine was the inclusion of personal accounts.
Oh, yeah.
Like the letter from Randaffer, who was a White House Communications Center employee on the day of the assassination.
Right.
Just imagine being in the heart of government during such a monumental event. What does his letter reveal?
It offers a chilling glimpse into the immediate aftermath of the assassination from someone who was actually there. Daffer describes the eerie quiet that descended upon the White House Communications Center,
Really?
the shock and disbelief among the staff, and the somber procession of people paying their respects to President Kennedy in the East Room. It's a stark reminder that beyond the political intrigue and investigations, there were real people whose lives were irrevocably changed by this event.
Yes. It's easy to get lost in the theories and the evidence, but ultimately this was a human tragedy.
Right.
That deeply affected countless individuals.
Precisely. Personal accounts like Daffer's help us connect with that human element, reminding us that history isn't just about dates and facts, but about the lived experiences of those who witnessed and were impacted by these events.
That brings a whole new layer of depth and complexity to our understanding of the assassination. So, besides these articles and personal accounts, what else can we find in this issue of Kennedy Assassination Chronicles? Anything else that jumped out at you?
Well, there's a particularly fascinating interview with Toni Foster, the running woman from the Zapruder film.
Oh, wow. The Zapruder film is probably the most analyzed piece of footage in history.
Oh.
To hear from someone who was actually there in Dealey Plaza during the assassination must be incredible.
It is. In the interview, Foster talks about her experience that day, how she and her husband rushed to get downtown to see the president.
Right.
You can imagine the excitement and anticipation in the air, and then, of course, the horror that followed.
So what does she say about those crucial moments? What insights does she offer?
Well, Foster describes running towards Elm Street, hoping to get a clear view of the motorcade, and then she heard the shots. She vividly recounts the confusion, the chaos, people running in all directions, not knowing what had happened. It's a chilling first-hand account that transports you right back to those chaotic moments.
It must have been terrifying, to say the least. Did she offer any insights into what she saw or heard during the assassination itself?
She mentions looking towards the grassy knoll right after the shots were fired, which, as you know, has fueled countless debates and conspiracy theories over the years.
Right, that detail is a major point of contention in many alternative theories about the assassination. Does Foster's account support any particular theory?
Well, her account doesn't provide any definitive answers, of course, but it adds another layer of complexity to the narrative by offering a glimpse into the experience of an ordinary person caught in the midst of an extraordinary event.
It's a good reminder that history is made up of these individual stories.
Right.
The personal experiences that shape and are shaped by these monumental events. This deep dive into Kennedy Assassination Chronicles really drives that point home.
Absolutely, and I think it speaks to the broader mission of the JFK AOA and the legacy of Mary Farrell. They're not just about solving the mysteries of the JFK assassination, but about empowering people to engage with history on a deeper level, to examine the evidence for themselves, and to keep asking questions.
You know, it's fascinating how this deep dive into the JFK assassination connects to this much broader conversation about information access and how we understand history.
It does, doesn't it? The work of Mary Farrell and the JFK AOA reminds us that open access to information is crucial for any historical inquiry. It's about empowering people to examine the evidence for themselves, to question official narratives, and to keep searching for truth.
And that's something we can all get behind regardless of our personal beliefs or interests.
Absolutely. This exploration of Kennedy Assassination Chronicles has been a real eye-opener. I feel like I've gained a deeper appreciation for the complexities of this event and the ongoing efforts to uncover the truth.
Me too. I'm definitely going to be spending more time with these materials, digging deeper into the research and seeing where it leads me.
That's the beauty of it, isn't it? There's always more to learn, more perspectives to consider, and more questions to ask.
Especially with a topic as multifaceted and enduring as the JFK assassination. But for now, we'll have to pause our deep dive here.
Okay.
Join us for part 2, where we'll continue our exploration of Kennedy Assassination Chronicles and delve into even more intriguing articles and personal accounts that shed light on this pivotal moment in history.
I'm looking forward to it. Until then, keep those critical thinking caps on and those questions coming.
All right, see you next time.
See you later.
Welcome back to our deep dive into Kennedy Assassination Chronicles. We're picking up where we left off, exploring the fascinating world of Mary Ferrell and the quest for truth surrounding the JFK assassination.
And we have plenty more to uncover. In the last part, we discussed some intriguing articles that challenged aspects of the official narrative. Now let's turn our attention to something a bit different. A personal account that offers a unique perspective on the assassination's immediate aftermath.
You're talking about the letter from Rand Daffer, right?
Yeah,
The White House Communications Center employee who was on duty that day.
exactly.
Yeah, his letter really struck me. It's a chilling glimpse into how the news of the assassination reverberated through the corridors of power.
It's a powerful piece of writing. Daffer describes the moment he first heard about the shooting while on the phone with his pregnant wife. Can you imagine receiving news like that?
It's hard to even fathom. You're dealing with this national tragedy unfolding while simultaneously anticipating a major life change. It must have been an incredibly surreal and emotional experience.
Absolutely. And that emotional weight comes through so clearly in Daffer's writing. He talks about the eerie quiet that fell over the White House Communications Center as the news sank in. The constant hum of activity just stopped.
It's as if the world itself held its breath for a moment, trying to comprehend the enormity of what had just happened.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. And then Daffer describes the staff gathering in the East Room to pay their respects to President Kennedy.
Wow.
It's a poignant scene that speaks volumes about the impact of the assassination on those who worked closest to the president.
Yeah, these personal accounts really humanize the event, reminding us that beyond the political figures and the conspiracy theories, there were real people whose lives were forever altered on that day.
That's so important to remember. It's easy to get caught up in the intellectual puzzle of the assassination, but we can't lose sight of the human toll it took.
Speaking of humanizing the event, you mentioned earlier an interview with Toni Foster, the running woman from the Zapruder film. Her story is fascinating because she's not a politician or a researcher. She's just an ordinary person who happened to be caught in the middle of one of the most significant events in American history.
Exactly. Foster's interview offers a raw, unfiltered perspective on what it was like to be in Dealey Plaza on November 22nd, 1963. She vividly recounts the excitement of waiting for the motorcade, the anticipation of seeing President Kennedy.
And then, of course, everything changed in an instant.
Right. She describes hearing the shots, the confusion, the sheer terror of not knowing what was happening. People were scattering, seeking cover, and she instinctively ran towards Elm Street, trying to make sense of the chaos.
It must have been a sensory overload. The sounds, the sights, the emotions. Did she say anything about what she saw during those crucial moments?
She mentions looking towards the grassy knoll immediately after the shots were fired, a detail that, as we know, has been the subject of intense scrutiny and debate over the years.
Yeah, that's a significant detail.
Mm-hmm.
Her account, while not providing definitive answers, adds another layer of complexity to the ongoing quest for truth. It also highlights the importance of first-hand accounts in piecing together a more complete picture of what happened.
Absolutely. Each individual perspective contributes a valuable piece to the puzzle, helping us move beyond the official narratives and delve deeper into the nuances of this historical event.
It's fascinating how, even decades later, the JFK assassination continues to captivate and intrigue people. There's this constant desire to understand, to find answers, to piece together the fragments of a story that seems to resist closure.
I think that's part of what makes Mary Ferrell's work and the mission of the JFK AOA so important. They provide a platform for this ongoing exploration, for the sharing of information and perspectives, for keeping the conversation alive.
You know, it's almost as if the quest for truth surrounding the JFK assassination has become a kind of collective endeavor, a puzzle that we're all trying to solve together.
That's a great way to put it. And Kennedy Assassination Chronicles plays a vital role in facilitating that collective endeavor by publishing research analysis and personal accounts like the ones we've discussed today.
This deep dive has really opened my eyes to the sheer volume of information and the diverse range of perspectives surrounding this event. It's clear that there's still so much to explore, to analyze, to understand.
Absolutely, and I think that's the key takeaway here. The quest for truth is an ongoing process, a journey that requires open minds, critical thinking, and a willingness to engage with a multiplicity of voices and viewpoints.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive, but there's still one more article from Kennedy Assassination Chronicles that I want to discuss.
Oh,
It's a piece that tackles the controversial to Oswald theory head-on, examining the evidence and the arguments with a critical eye.
that sounds fascinating. Let's delve into that article and see what insights it offers in our final part.
Welcome back to our deep dive into the world of Mary Farrell and JFK assassination research. We've been exploring Kennedy Assassination Chronicles, a magazine packed with fascinating articles and first-hand accounts. And in this final part, we're going to tackle a particularly intriguing article that delves into that controversial to Oswald theory.
Right. This theory, as we touched upon earlier, suggests that there were two men named Lee Harvey Oswald leading parallel lives, with one being framed for the assassination while the other vanished. It's a theory that's sparked a lot of debate and speculation over the years.
Right, and this article doesn't shy away from the controversy. It really examines the theory with a critical eye, dissecting the evidence and the arguments that have been put forth by its proponents. So what does the article reveal? What evidence does it present?
Well, it revisits that claim that someone met Oswald in Stanley, North Dakota back in 1953, a claim that seems to support the idea of a second Oswald. However, the article digs deeper, examining the source of this claim and highlighting the inconsistencies and lack of concrete evidence to corroborate it.
So it's casting doubt on the credibility of that particular piece of evidence. Does the article debunk the to Oswald theory entirely?
Well, it doesn't necessarily present a definitive conclusion, but it raises some crucial questions and challenges the assumptions upon which the theory is built. It emphasizes the importance of scrutinizing sources, evaluating the reliability of eyewitness accounts, and looking for corroborating evidence before accepting a theory as fact.
It seems like a recurring theme in this magazine and in JFK assassination research in general is this need for critical thinking.
Right.
For questioning assumptions and looking beyond the surface of things.
Absolutely, and that's what makes this field so fascinating but also so challenging, that there's this constant need to sift through information, to separate fact from speculation, and to be willing to reevaluate your own beliefs as new evidence emerges.
It's like piecing together a complex puzzle where some pieces might be missing and others might not fit as neatly as we'd like.
That's a great analogy, and it highlights the importance of resources like Kennedy Assassination Chronicles and organizations like the JFK AOA, which provide access to this wealth of information and encourage this kind of critical engagement with the evidence.
You know, this deep dive has been a real eye-opener. We've delved into some complex theories, examined some compelling evidence, and encountered first-hand accounts that bring a human dimension to this historical event. It's clear that the JFK assassination continues to hold a grip on our collective imagination, sparking debate and inspiring a quest for truth that shows no signs of abating.
And it's a testament to the enduring power of this event and the ongoing need to grapple with its complexities and seek answers to the many questions that still linger. The work of Mary Farrell and the JFK AOA plays a vital role in facilitating that quest, ensuring that the conversation remains open, transparent, and accessible to all.
Well, this exploration of Kennedy Assassination Chronicles has given us a lot to ponder. It's reminded us of the importance of critical thinking, the power of primary sources, and that enduring quest for truth surrounding one of the most pivotal events in American history. We encourage you to delve into the source material for yourselves, explore the wealth of information that's available through the JFK AOA, and continue that journey of discovery for yourselves. Until next time, keep those minds open, keep those questions coming, and keep diving deep.